Broadside, day 596. I went to a house this morning, and on the house, front door, glass door, you can see right into the house, you know. And there's a sign that said, "Don't please." It's a sleeping baby. Please don't knock, or please don't ring the doorbell. And having had kids myself, I understand the importance of not interrupting a nap. You know, I get it, especially if it's not a napping baby. You know, one that naturally just goes down, right? As they say, goes down. That's a weird phrase to talk about a baby sleeping. But anyway, so I didn't want to interrupt. But then again, I didn't want to stand there like a creep on the front steps waiting. So, you know, that's an odd, I don't really know what they're going for there. Because if you don't have that person's phone number, and then I thought, well, maybe it's a ploy to get, you know, the Jehovah's Witnesses and the, you know, the people trying to sell gutter guards and all this other crap that people knock on your door and cold call you. Is that a cold call? I guess it's a cold talk. Anyway, a cold knock. I guess maybe that's a way to get him to go away, because the Jehovah's Witness goes up there and they're like, I'm here to talk about the extra books of the Bible or whatever it is they believe in. Maybe that's not Jehovah's Witnesses. That might be the Mormons. I don't know. Anyway. And then they look at it like, well, let's go to the next house because I don't want to wake this baby. She's surely not going to come over to my side of religion if I wake her damn baby. But anyway, I don't know if you saw this, but San Diego. It's I think it's Spanish for a whale's vagina. But they did what I've been asking people to do for years. I've been asking all these municipalities, counties, cities, states, whoever puts it on, these firework displays, right? Nobody wants to sit there and watch a half-hour fireworks. It's stupid. All they're looking for is the denouement, right? The ending, the clincher, right? The final countdown, right? And San Diego accidentally got a glitch in their computer system, and it set off a 25-minute show in 25 seconds. And it was spectacular. Like, it was like Oppenheimer level explosives, and it was so awesome. Like, people were getting up in fear that they might die and retreating. You know, it was really cool. And that's all you want, man. I mean, what's the difference, right? You go to that stupid New Year's Eve Times Square shindig, and all you're doing is basically hanging out for 20 hours so you can watch 1 minute of time go by. What's the difference between that and a 25-second display? At least there's explosives instead of some stupid ball. I wonder what they do to archive those balls, you know, because they change the ball like at least every year. I don't know. I used to watch it when I was a kid because it seemed like the thing to do. And it seemed like they had the same ball for a while, but then they started getting it all fancy and everything. But I tell you what, standing in a crowd of 1 million people with no alcohol, no access to food, drink, or toilets for like 15 hours does not sound like fun at all. I don't care how great the experience is, and I doubt it is. But that is one of the worst things I can think of spending my time doing. So, no thank you. That's like watching, you know, some things on TV versus live. It's not worth the hassle. The parking and, you know, can you imagine how many people trying to get on them subways after that crap lets out? 1 million people. Now, maybe that's a drop in the bucket to a place like New York City. But, I mean, I doubt 1 million people try to get on the subway at the same, like, 4 bus stops, or not bus stops, subway stations, whatever they're called, at the same time. So even by New York standards, that's probably a mass of people that I just don't want to be any part of, you know? That just doesn't sound fun at all. And I'll say this. This town needs an enema, as Jack Nicholson once said in 1989. Leadership. That's what this damn country needs, leadership. Joe Biden couldn't spell leadership. You gave him all the vowels. I mean, it's ridiculous. You know, I think that, you know, like, for example, they asked, what's the idiot's name? Nikki Haley. They asked that goofball the other day what started the Civil War. She couldn't even answer. Slavery never came out of her mouth. Now, was it all slavery? No, it was a combination of things, although slavery was a huge part of it. There might have been some other fringe things that you could put together. But if you don't mention slavery, that's pretty ignorant, you know. Caught her off guard. And I have a problem with that. Some people are like, oh, so what if she doesn't know? That happened, you know, 150 years. Well, it does matter, okay? Because I want the person that's running the free world to be a student of their game, okay? I don't care if you are the president of some large corporation, you know, you're taking over Apple or Reebok or, you know, Kellogg, Nabisco, whatever. I don't care if you're a sheriff or a police chief. I don't care if you're the president. It doesn't matter what you're doing or what you're taking over. But if you're the new president, CEO, boss, in charge, whatever, you need to be a student of that and know what came before you and know what lack of leadership you're walking into or how great the leadership was so that you can either mirror it or make it go to another level. Because there's too many people that, predated you. And if you don't know anything about them, you're an idiot. Leadership. There's no leadership in this country. There is, but it's very little. I would say like 1 in 10 people is actually a leader. The rest of them are just consumed with power, ego, money. It's just stupid. And anyway, and I say all that to say this. Apparently, Guy Fieri. I've heard both. Fieri. I don't know where the T comes from, but I'm not Italian either. So he gave $1.2 million to the Maui thing. Rock, Oprah, where you at? Right? I don't know what they've given, so maybe that was unfair, but still, dude came out of his own pocket. And I haven't researched this, but this is what I hear. So maybe it's not worth talking about at this point without research, but I'm doing it anyway because I don't care. All right, you can check me on it later. But $1.2 million, seemingly of his own money, that's a dude who realizes his worth and says, hey, and maybe he has no ties to Maui. I think he's like a West Coast dude, so I'm sure he's been there, but I don't know if he actually lived there or had a house or anything like that. But he saw a need and he went for it. Unlike the guy that I mentioned at the beginning of this leadership combo, the goofball Biden that's in charge, who's on his like 423rd day of vacation he's coming off of. But if you remember, he was in Lake Tahoe or Reno or somewhere at another, $1 billion donor's house, staying for free, absent the people's dime of all the Secret Service en masse and all the 47 vehicles it takes to take him to go get ice cream and before he goes to bed at 7 o'clock. But he couldn't take 11 hours out of his day, to go over there because he whisks in, he whisks out like you're whipping up egg beaters, and then he's gone. Meanwhile, this dude, a private citizen's given $1.2 million. That's leadership, and that's leadership that doesn't even ask anything of itself. He's doing that out of the goodness of his heart, and because he sees the need, and he realizes that, hey, I've got more than I need. I can roll out here and shed a couple million and make a difference to people who obviously need it more than me. Meanwhile, we got a president who's out here accepting money from God knows how many entities in the world. It baffles my mind why. Well, I understand why, the power and the money, but it bothers me that people get into the lines of work that they do, and there's no altruism whatsoever. There's no care. It's all about me. How much greediness can I, accrue in my entire life? And I'll get off my soapbox now. But it just pisses me off, man. Biden, you got the money. You're worth a lot more money than you came into the Senate in the 70s. Why don't you give 1.2? Match Guy Fieri. I dare you. Get him.